Happy Friday, Buffs fans. Welcome to this week's edition of Sco Buff Sports Live. I'm Zachary Giesenchlag.
I'm Simeon, and look, we've hit our first taste of summer in Boulder. How about this weather, huh?
You know, it's really nice, man. The sun and the warmth, it's got my soul coming alive. I see green grass outside my apartment. You know, good times are coming. Life is good. And it looks like it's going to continue into the weekend as well.
Yeah, likewise. I'm really seeing it. We've truly hit the home stretch of sports this season, but we've got an action-packed lineup for you today. Let's get started.
Before we get into some of the more exciting Colorado football news, there's a few Buffs that are no longer part of the program. Sophomore running back Isaiah Auguste, sophomore safety Savion Riley, and senior tight end Sam Hart are the three confirmed to depart from the team after being part of the group led off of CU's spring roster. The most notable of the trio was Auguste, who led the Buffs in rushing yards last season amid injury troubles in CU's backfield. The other two, Riley and Hart, spent most of the season on the sideline. Riley stepped up amid injury to Shiloh Sanders early last season, seeing some game action and showing some promise before Sanders' return. Reasoning for these moves have remained unclear, but all three are likely to hit the transfer portal when it opens this Wednesday.
Coach Deion Sanders made his presence known at Colorado's Pro Day last Friday, urging his players in a viral clip to run their 40-yard dash, quote, however they wanted, and not listen to a scout advising the event. Sanders defended his players and praised their performances amidst scrutiny, namely his son and quarterback Shedeur Sanders, stating that when they put Sanders on their back, they get attacked. Coach Prime also stood on his belief that Sanders and Heisman Trophy winner Travis Hunter are good enough to be the first two picks in the upcoming NFL Draft.
This week, Shedeur Sanders was front and center for the Buffs at CU's NFL Pro Day. Although he did not participate in drills, the quarterback dished the rock to a plethora of his Colorado teammates. He impressed with the long ball and intermediate routes and finished the day with 58 of his 63 throws completed. Additionally, the accuracy and footwork of Sanders was an important part of his showcase. With the NFL Draft looming, Sanders left a good impression for his final time throwing in Boulder.
All eyes were on Travis Hunter at Colorado's Pro Day showcase last week as well. The 2024 Heisman winner is projected to be a top 5 pick in the upcoming NFL Draft, and plenty of NFL teams were in attendance to scout him. Hunter didn't partake in any of the traditional pre-draft drills like the 40-yard dash, but did put his skills on display during the position drills period when he was catching passes from Shedeur Sanders for the final time. His workout showcased that the tape he put out for teams last season is good enough, as he didn't wear gloves and didn't run many deep routes.
The Buffs had some trench dogs participate in the showcase as well. Shane Cokes, Jadose Nwako, and BJ Green II represented the defensive line. Nwako performed especially well, as his 30 reps on bench press would have been the most among defensive tackles at the NFL Combine. In addition, Cokes would have tied the bench press at the NFL Combine. Green also showed off his athleticism with a 4.7-second 40-yard dash along with a 10-foot broad jump.
Travis Hunter wasn't the only Buff to run routes at Pro Day. Will Shepard, LeJontay Wester, and Jimmy Horn all participated in workouts. Shepard showed off his hops with a vertical of 40.5 inches, a feat that would have put him in third at the NFL Combine. Horn and Wester each ran the 40-yard dash, putting up a 4.4 and 4.5 respectively. Horn shined in position drills with some highlight catches fit with a backflip to end the day.
Outside of the trenches, there were solid performances from the defense as well. Linebacker Levante Bentley showed out in drills with NFL coaches. Safeties Shiloh Sanders and Cam Solomon-Craig gave their pitch on why they belong at the next level. These players were able to excel outside of testing and prove that the film doesn't lie.
Finally, punter Mark Vissette was the only specialist on the field for Colorado's Pro Day. He jogged a 4.65 40-yard dash and showed off his strong leg to NFL scouts. This past season, Mate had 19 punts inside the 20-yard line and excelled in Boulder over 2 years.
And now it is time for the best part of the show, as some might say, this week's trivia question. With the NFL Draft coming up, we ask you, how many football players from CU have been drafted into the NFL? We'll let you think on that, and make sure to stick around later in the show to hear the answer, because it may surprise you.
Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to this week's edition of Buff Banner. My name is Oliver Hayes alongside Leo Rivera IV. We are talking about CU's NFL Pro Day that happened this past week. Of course, stars quarterback Shedeur Sanders and Heisman winner Travis Hunter were the big names to look out for, but they did not participate in drills. They just threw passes and ran routes. But Leo, you were on the scene. You saw a bunch of offensive talent from one of the best receiving corps in the nation. So what did you see on that Pro Day?
Yeah, first and foremost, I think Jimmy Horn Jr. Did the best of all the receivers to raise his stock. He had tremendous route running capabilities. His 40-yard dash was major improvements from his Big 12 Pro Day, and just saw an overall explosion in enthusiasm from the receiver. He had a big moment where he got a catch deep in the corner from Shador Sanders, where Shador was able to showcase, his arm talent and, of course, Jimmy's ball tracking ability. And, of course, the flip at the end just to show all the scouts how athletic he really is. And one of the other players, Oliver, I know you've been a fan of this season, LeJontay Wester, balled out. What do you think about his performance and where he fits in on NFL teams?
I mean, I think it was pretty solid because, as we've talked about pretty much this whole season, he's not the tallest guy. He's not necessarily the most athletic guy, especially when you see Jimmy Horn Jr. running a 4.4. You see Willie Shepard, jumping 40 inches in the vertical. And so when LeJontay Wester doesn't necessarily have those results in the drills, but shows up running routes and making some big catches, and especially after having the season that he had this season, it shows well for scouts. It shows well in his draft stock, and I think it'll still be hard for him given his physical attributes, but he made plays and proved a name for himself this past season, and still showed well in the pro day. So looking at the defensive side of the ball, what did you see? So looking at some of the D linemen and some of the cornerbacks.
Yeah, definitely. I think Levonta Bentley at linebacker there anchored Colorado's front seven this past season as a leader, as a vocal player who could play sideline to sideline, cover tight ends, and be physical, make tackles. He showed out in drills. He looked really good in front of scouts, and in particular in front of the Denver Broncos, working with some of their scouts and players, as well as B.J. Green on that defensive line. Led the team in sacks at 7.5. Was an all Big 12 defensive lineman of the year. Made that team. He had impressive athleticism and frame, and really showed out in the drills as well.
Yeah, no, I definitely thought so too. But looking at some of the negative sides, I know there were some names that people were talking about. What, in your eyes, were some letdowns on that pro day?
Yeah, I think just from a size perspective, that's what a lot of scouts want to see, an explosion. I think, Cameron Silman-Craig, it's kind of something we've known throughout, but he's a very undersized player. So it's going to be interesting to see if he's able to find a spot for himself on a roster and, able to overcome that small size, because the numbers and stats from the pro day didn't quite replicate his ability that he's able to showcase on the film and what the film has shown us throughout the season. And another player who I think personally deserves to be on a team, but again just is a little bit shorter than measurables, is Chidozie Nwankwo, defensive tackle. That's probably his only critique as a player. He's got a high motor, great fundamentals, just not as explosive vertically and, not as fast as other D tackles may have been.
And then I guess just in the grand scheme of things, obviously CU has some NFL players, balling in the NFL currently. Historically, they've had some, solid NFL players, but CU hasn't had a pro day like this in quite a while, with so many names in the draft performing at this level. What did you notice seeing so many scouts, I think from every single team in the NFL at this event?
Correct. Well represented with NFL scouts, and I think it just shows the new era of CU football and where this program is headed, with Deion Sanders as the head coach and the excitement around this team. And not only that, the quality of players that are on this roster. To be able to get to 9 wins and make a bowl appearance, you got to have some studs on that team. So I think we got to saw a great showcase of both offensive and defensive players who can be contributors in the NFL.
Yeah, definitely. This event was super fun for CU. It's not something that happens too often, as we said, but with Deion signing his extension for the next 5 years, it's something that I think we'll see in the years to come. So there were a lot of ups for CU, a few downs, but overall a pretty fun showing for CU's best players this past season, and the guys moving on to prove themselves in the NFL. But this seems to be the end of this week's Buff Banner. My name is Oliver Hayes, alongside Lou Rivera, and we'll be passing it back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, guys, and stay tuned to next week's NFL Draft Show, as we'll have our analysts break down the final mock board ahead of Draft Day on April 24th in Green Bay. We'll be back after this short break.
Lacrosse Buffs took the win in Tempe this week to take down the Arizona State Sun Devils in a 14-13 defeat this past Sunday. Maddie Shoup, Kendall Havel, and Tegan Ryan were the three Buffs that recorded hat tricks to seal up CU's second win in conference play. Havel also recorded her 200th career point, combining her points at Colorado College and in Boulder.
Colorado now looks to keep their conference win streak going at 2. The number 4 ranked Florida Gators are coming to town tomorrow at 11 a.m. for the Buffs' Big 12 home opener at Prentup Field. This will be the 5th time both teams will face each other, with the Gators winning each of the first 4 matchups. In their last meeting in 2020, the Buffs lost 11-10. CU now looks to flip the script tomorrow morning. The game can be streamed on ESPN+.
It's been a beautiful couple of days here in Boulder, and it's looking like that trend is going to continue into the weekend. Here's Ryan Asaro with your weekend weather forecast.
Thank you, Zach. All right, let's look at the forecast for tomorrow's big showdown at Prentup Field. With first draw set to be at 11 a.m., fans can expect it to be a nice 75 degrees. By halftime, you can expect it to get slightly hotter, as it will be around 78 degrees. Then by the time the game is over and fans start heading home, it will be around 80 degrees. Throughout the game, fans and players can expect some cloud cover. However, I personally would still recommend putting on some sunscreen unless you want to look like a tomato the rest of the weekend. There is a 10% chance that it may start raining at around halftime, but just like my chances of passing astronomy this semester, it's looking unlikely. Going to be a nice day tomorrow, giving you the perfect excuse to get outside and watch what should be a great lacrosse game. That's all for me. Now back to the desk.
We've got a Colorado showdown coming up as the women's lacrosse team will be facing the Denver Pioneers this coming Thursday at Prentup Field at 7 p.m., which will be streamed on ESPN+. The opponents last faced up last season in April, where the Pioneers took the 14-8 win over the Buffaloes. This time around, it's in Boulder, which gives CU an advantage. The Buffs will want to play hard on their home field. DU's lineup also looks a little bit different, as graduate students Julia Gilbert and Jane Early, who led the matchup with CU last season, are no longer on the team. But with a new look, DU can make the CU team eager to take over for the win.
The track and field team's multi-event group got some reps in at the Brian Clay Invitational hosted in Azusa, California on Thursday. The rest of the Buffaloes didn't have to go far, though, to compete in this weekend as they traveled to Golden for the Kit Meyer Classic hosted by the Colorado School of Mines. The first of 39 athletes who made the trip competed in throwing events starting today.
After winning last Sunday at West Virginia, the tennis team wraps up their regular season this weekend at home. Today, they host number 30 ranked Arizona Wildcats at 6 p.m. Their last match will be Sunday against the number 33 Arizona State Sun Devils. This weekend provides an opportunity to end the season strong at home before the team travels to Texas next weekend for the Big 12 Championship.
The women's golf squad finished 8th at the Chevron Silverado Showdown in Napa, California this past week. The team was led by Morgan Miller and Vanessa Ngo, who tied for 11th individually. The Buffs have less than a week before the Big 12 Championship, in which the first round will be played in Hockley, Texas this Tuesday.
The men's golf team finished 7th out of 14 teams in Tennessee. Dylan McDermott was the only Buff to shoot under par at the tournament. He finished 4 strokes under par, good for 18th individually. The team started their last tournament before the Big 12 Championship today in Phoenix. Read more about Colorado's performance over the weekend on our website.
Hey Buff fans, I'm Kieran Walker bringing you this week's top 5 plays in Colorado sports. Yes, we once again have 5 plays for you this week. We're a big fan of consistency, as you all know, here at SBS. But enough yapping, we're getting right into it. Starting off with our number 5 spot, women's lacrosse dominated this list this week. Number 5, Michigan, but that pass is intercepted by Grace Morgan as she goes up the right side. She's going to come all the way out to midfield with this one, something you never see in women's club lacrosse. But we're going to go into our number 4 spot against number 15 Notre Dame. Now, mind you, the Buffs coming up the opposite side of the field, and there's another shot. They score, and mind you, that was 9 seconds after Notre Dame scored right before. And we're going to go into our number 3 spot next. And ladies and gentlemen, pardon the interruption here, but we've got some geese on the field and the matchup between number 4 Boston College and Sophie O'Brien is going to chase them off the field, trying to get this game underway. It was early, 9:30 in the morning, and they just wanted to get off that field and go home and get some rest because we were all tired, even our broadcast team. O'Brien keeps pushing them off, too afraid to get close to him, but nonetheless, the field is clear and we can resume play, but we're going to go into our number 2 spot in that Notre Dame game. It went into overtime here on a cold April night in Boulder, and Colorado secures the win, defending their home turf right on Kit Field. What a beauty. And as we go into our number 1 spot with Harrison Simeon and Paxton Haynes, volume on, folks.
And I mean, before this game, we thought it was going to be Grace Morgan. We called her, who our graphics coordinator, Nick, called the best goalkeeper he's ever seen, goaltender he's ever seen. But O'Brien's performance today, she might have some competition.
O'Brien says, I can do it too, as she's been outstanding here in the first quarter. And in front of the net, shot, score!
God damn it.
Harrison Simeon, ladies and gentlemen, with the good old commentator jinx. You've got to love it. It's all too real here in the broadcast journalism industry. But anyway, that was a very heavy women's lacrosse play of the week this week. That's going to do it here on SBS. My name is Kieran Warger, and we will see you all after the break.
Welcome to Folsom Feud. I'm your host, Colby, here with 3 contestants today, Lincoln, Balin, and Kieran. Lincoln, start us off.
I'll take game day etiquette for 200.
All right. This is the best way to show respect during the CU fight song.
What is standing, singing loud, and raising your hand in the hook 'em horn sign?
Not what we're looking for. Balin, you have an answer?
What is stand up, sing loud, and do the Ralphie horns?
Correct. Balin, the board is yours.
Give me tailgate traditions for 400.
All right, here's the answer. The must-have item to wear on game day to show your buff pride. Kieran?
What is black and gold?
That's correct. Nothing says school spirit like those 2 colors. Choose the next one.
Let's do fan etiquette for 600.
Fan etiquette. The proper response when you hear someone yell, "Go Buffs."
What is Skull Buffs?
Skull Buffs is right. Looks like we've got some true Buffs fans here. But thank you all for tuning in. Thank you to our contestants, and see you next time.
Welcome back. One of the least talked about sports towing the ice on Colorado's campus is figure skating. Lucy Alagna has an inside look at the squad and its pursuit of a perfect 10.
Representing the University of Colorado Boulder.
Hi Buff fans, I'm Lucy Alagna, and today I'm here with the President and Vice President of CU's Club Figure Skating Team, who has qualified for nationals for the first time in CU history as a team.
My name is Emma Cumming. I'm a junior here at CU. I'm also president of the CU Figure Skating Team. Essentially, the United States is split into 4 different regions. We're in the Pacific Coast region. We qualified 3rd in our region out of 25 different teams, and so we're one of 16 teams out of 115 total in the United States that got the opportunity to go to the intercollegiate final this year, which is really exciting. It's like a dream come true for me. Watching the team grow from literally nothing my freshman year to a qualifying team for nationals now has just been phenomenal. Honestly, the biggest thing for me probably would be just the growth of everything and just seeing the journey from start to kind of finish and reaching the goal that we've literally had since my freshman year.
Hi, my name is Carla. I'm a senior. And the most rewarding part, I want to say making nationals because that had been a goal for us for so long. But really it's all that went into it, all of the nights that we were at practice, all the hard work that we put in, and then just the time that we've taken to really build this community up and build each other up.
A lot of people feel that figure skating is a pretty individualistic sport because it's all a team effort. So you feel like you're skating for yourself, but you also feel like you're skating for your team and your school and everything that you represent.
Excited to kind of like live the experience, especially as a senior. And my reaction was relief and then just a whole lot of excitement and joy and just like thankfulness for the community and all the skaters on the team and all the hard work that they put in. You can follow us on Instagram. We post updates about our competitions. We post a lot of cool videos on there. And then also just kind of like keeping up with the team. If you see us, wearing our merch. Don't be afraid to ask questions. A lot of people don't know we have a team on campus. So yeah, just follow our socials and keep in the loop, and that would be great.
Make sure to support them on their Instagram at CU Club Figure Skating to follow along their events at Nationals this weekend.
Thank you again for that great package, Lucy. In other news, the Buffalo's club roller hockey team was named national champions in the NCHRA League. Colorado plays on the Division III level and won against Tampa University in an exciting overtime finish. Additional note, the team also includes some notable former CU hockey players, such as Adam Trunco.
After various weather delays out in powdery Fort Collins, Colorado Club Baseball dropped its 3-game set to the Colorado State Rams earlier this week. The Buffs lost 2 of 3 to CSU, but outscored the Rams 20-12, splitting a pair of 1-run losses with a 10-0 shutout win in Game 2. The defeat sunk Colorado to 5-4 in Mid-America West play. CU looks forward to its penultimate regular season series against the Colorado School of Mines at home next weekend.
It was a thrilling weekend for Women's Club Lacrosse, who wrapped up their season last weekend hosting the Mile High Tournament. Saturday's first matchup put the Black and Gold up against the then number 5 Michigan Wolverines, where the Buffs walked away with a 7-5 victory. Later that night, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish faced the tournament host Buffs, who came out on top 12-11 in overtime. Colorado had their luck tested early Sunday morning as they faced number 4 Boston College, who defended their number 4 seed, blowing out the Buffs 13-8 in Boulder. The final matchup with the Buffs against the Blue Devils of Duke University, who fell to Colorado 11-7. As the tournament drew to a close, Colorado walked away with a 7-4 regular season record.
Colorado men's lacrosse pulled off a stunning upset over number 1 ranked BYU on Thursday night. A late Buffs rally was capped by Xander Gardner's go-ahead goal with less than 3 minutes on the clock to claim a 12-11 victory and snap the Cougars' historic 29-game win streak. Colorado also dominated its rival Utah Utes last weekend on Senior Day. The Black and Gold put up 6 goals in their first quarter. Mike Kuligowski owned the face-off circle, and Colorado relentlessly put up goals past Utah's Anton Gudick en route to a comfortable 18-6 victory on home turf.
Here we see Xavier McNevitz working on his reader for the live show. If we didn't have these readers done by Thursday night, chances are we would not be airing this show right now. Be like Xavier. Get your readers done. And don't forget to click save so that you don't lose any of your hard-earned work.
What's up, Buffs fans? My name is Max Friedel, and I'm here to bring you this week's Rapid Fire. Starting us off, Colorado Tennis is currently hosting the Arizona Wildcats right here in Boulder. Next up, women's lacrosse, their Big 12 home opener against Florida. Yes, you heard that right. The Florida Gators are coming to town. That game faces off at 11 a.m. this Saturday. Moving forward, we have Arizona State. Their tennis team will be in Boulder this Sunday. Matches beginning at 2 p.m. And finally, the Women's Golf Big 12 Championship taking place in Hockley, Texas. That event will be going on all day Tuesday. And that's it for this week's Rapid Fire. My name is Max Friedel. Back to the desk.
Welcome back, and now it's time to reveal the answer to this week's trivia question. Earlier in the show, we asked you, how many football players from CU have been drafted into the NFL? And the answer is, drumroll please, 295 players from CU have been drafted into the NFL, with 240 of those seeing NFL playtime.
It's finally now time for today's Tweet of the Week, which comes from our men's club lacrosse team. The Buffs social media account posted Captain Connor Chesson mic'd up during last week's win over Utah. Their poll in the comments section asked viewers, quote, "Is this guy the zestiest player on the team?" With a staggering 95% yes to 1 no. We could probably guess who voted no. Zach, what do you think? Was that worthy Tweet of the Week right there?
I think that was a very worthy Tweet of the Week right there. I think it's a really nice note to end on. I love democracy. I love when the voice of the people is heard like that.
And thank you again for tuning into this week's show. We'll see you guys next week. I'm Harrison Simeon.
And I'm Zachary Giesenchlag. And remember, you heard it here first.